Hi, Rain. Hi.
Hi,
So
Kathy.
today we have Rain from the Philippines with us, just for a little interview on her experiences of dyspraxia. So I hope that you will all find this interesting. So, yeah, if we start, Rain, with the first question, which was, could you just tell me about your experience of learning about dyspraxia? When did you first learn about this and that you might have this?
hmm That's a great question. I found out that I had dyspraxia when I was 14, and
Okay.
I was staying over at a friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I kept bumping into their collectibles, and there was a time when I couldn't apply eyeliner, and I was getting so frustrated about that to the point of crying. So I cried without my friends seeing. And when they saw that I was really struggling to put it on, they ended up applying it for me. And I don't know, I was there for a few days and I was feeling particularly clumsy and just insecure. And so at the time, I think I just ended up doing a Google search on like what I was struggling with. I don't,
Okay.
yes, I don't
Like the
exactly,
eyeliner and the clumsiness, you mean? Like these
yeah,
problems you were having? Okay.
yes. I ended up looking that up. I don't know exactly what I searched for, but I do remember that dyspraxia was the first one that popped up.
Right,
And
okay. Yeah. So through looking up your symptoms or your difficulties, then you did a Google search and then it did come up. Okay.
yeah, it did come up. It was one of the first searches. And when I ended up reading about dyspraxia, I could really identify with everything that was listed.
Wow. Okay. You just saw the list and you thought, that's me, that's me, that's me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wow. So eyeliner, I can understand. I can't do that either. That's impossible for me. And yeah, but clumsiness is often what people first think of when if they do know what dyspraxia is, they might think that's the main thing. But as we know, there's many more things that people are affected by. It's really not just clumsiness. And
Mhm.
that's just one example of those fine motor skill difficulties with the eyeliner. Thank you so much for that, Rain. I might jump to one of the later questions now and ask you, how else does your dyspraxia affect you? What other ways?
There are many ways that my dyspraxia affects me, in particular with like daily activities that involves taking care of myself.
Okay.
I really struggle with hygiene stuff. Tying my shoelaces is very difficult. Like I can't do them properly even now. I'm 20 and it's still very difficult. And I also struggle with like fine motor skills. Like examples include like writing and eating with, you know, my hands. It's very difficult. And it's hard for me to do basic things like cooking. I don't know if it's something you struggle with as well, but having to like do many things at once,
Yeah,
it's
multitasking is one of my main struggles as well with anything, and cooking involves different timings, different activities, and also motor skills. So that can be a real challenge for lots of people with dyspraxia. But it sounds like it affects so many areas of your life. You said eating as well, so like using a knife and fork. That's something I never quite learned to do it the same as other people. Yeah, wow.
one big struggle as well is my lack of location. I
Yeah. Okay.
I can never tell where I am in space, and
Yeah.
it's caused so many problems for me.
Mm. So, like,
I
is that getting lost and struggling to find places you're going to?
and getting lost all the time. And even where I live, I still struggle with navigating like places just close to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So for me, it's the same with that. It's like I don't have a map in my brain. That's how I describe it, and I can never imagine a journey like from the other way around. And even to learn one way, I have to do it multiple times before I know the journey, and then I can still forget. So
Mhm.
I think even reading a map visually is something I can't seem to do because of that inability to kind of like locate myself in space.
Mhm.
I don't know how you with maps as well.
Yeah, I struggle with that as well. Like, I don't know how people can just look at a map and like understand where they are in space. Because
Yeah.
every time I look at a map, I just get really nervous because I I don't think it helps me. I
Mm.
I just look at it and it doesn't really tell me where I am in space. So I
Yeah.
just maybe ask someone else to help me or
Yeah.
look up something on Google. But it's a struggle.
Mm. Sounds really difficult. And I just wonder if there are any positives, any strengths at all that you find with having dyspraxia.
Mhm. That's a great question because I do think that there are strengths and like positive things that are associated with having dyspraxia. And I would say that I had to really learn patience.
Okay, yeah.
I I know that I'll be able to do something, but it's gonna take me some time to do it. For
Yeah.
example, when I have to write, I would my because I don't typically write. I usually type and use a computer for taking notes. But when I do have to write with my hands, like I obviously take more time on that, and I have to be more patient with myself.
Mhm.
And
Yes, more time to do physical tasks means that you've learned to be patient with
yeah,
those things, and I guess with yourself when you're doing those things. Yeah, and just so that everyone knows, dyspraxia is diagnosed by a discrepancy or a difference between general intelligence and abilities with motor skills and planning of tasks. So it can also affect cognitive things in terms of organizational abilities. Would you say there's anything around that that's like not just purely physical for you?
definitely. I do struggle a lot with organizing. Like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I write something, like when I have to write an essay, like it was a struggle when I was in school. I couldn't write a sentence like coherently. They have to outline my thoughts, like, and it can get very messy at times. And so, what I tend to do is I would just brain dump, like write everything that's in my head, and then like, organize it after because I can't write like how people usually would. Like they would just start, they would have a start, a middle, and end. Like this is something I struggle with.
So that's in terms of structuring and organizing your thoughts, not the physical act of writing, but how you get to that point. You first have to organize it, and that is a struggle for you. Yeah, yeah. So thank you for explaining some of the other ways that it affects you. I'm really curious about the difference in awareness between, say, UK and the Philippines because I've met people from different places, and I think in the UK there's still a lack of awareness of this. There's more awareness now of, say, autism and ADHD. Lots of people find it easier now to get a diagnosis for those conditions. But with dyspraxia, it's still harder for that to be diagnosed, and lots of adults would need to go privately for a diagnosis because the healthcare system here it doesn't really have provision for that. And I was wondering about over there. So what is it like over there in terms of provision, both in terms of children and adults, and any sort of information or support that's available as well?
That's a great question. In the Philippines, there isn't much provision when it comes to dyspraxia, and the ones that are available are the ones that do diagnose dyspraxia are private clinics, and they
Right.
cost a lot of money.
Mm.
That's one of the reasons why I haven't been diagnosed yet, because I can't afford to get diagnosed.
Mm.
Mhm.
So it is
And
just the cost that's a barrier for a lot of
yeah,
people because it's all through private um, professionals, I guess. Like, is it occupational therapists or doctors that would do it? I don't know who would make a diagnosis over there.
like occupational therapists and I would say pediatricians.
Okay, yes, of course. So occupational therapists may be more for the adults.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. But that stops you, the cost would stop you at the moment from seeking that
Yeah,
diagnosis. Do you think that it would help you to have a diagnosis?
yeah, I think it would help me
Mm.
because I, I guess seeking support would also provide me with like a clear understanding of how dyspraxia works and how I can deal with it.
Yeah, so some clarity, understanding, and maybe support.
Mhm.
But in terms of actual information, like books and resources or support out there, is there anything for people with dyspraxia?
Yeah, that's a good question because the main reason why I had to like talk to you was because I couldn't really get support where I live.
Yeah.
I was looking up Dyspraxia Philippines, and there isn't an organization that's
Mm.
really focused on dyspraxia. And yeah, even articles, like I think I just read two articles that were on dyspraxia, and just not many people know about it.
Yeah, so there's nothing really out there in terms of structured support for people, no kind of charitable organizations or anything like that. Well, yeah, I think this is a worldwide problem that I'm finding the more people I talk to from different countries, it's all over that there's just not enough support available for people. So, yeah, trying to obviously do what we can to change that at Dyspraxia Dialogues. But there are other groups that are doing things and raising awareness, at least in the UK. I don't know about any other places much in the world, but um, yeah, I would encourage you, whoever, wherever you are, if you have dyspraxia, to do what you can just to kind of raise some awareness of it, even if it's just amongst your family and friends, um, because that will help. So, what would you like the world to know about dyspraxia? What would be the one thing?
One thing about
Yeah.
dyspraxia.
The most important thing that you would want people to know?
The most important thing I want people to know about dyspraxia is that it exists. Because
Yes.
yes, I would say many people I've talked to about it don't even know that it exists. So I often have to explain myself. I have to explain what this condition is, and it's really
Mm.
frustrating having to do that every time. If there
Yes,
was more awareness of this condition, there would be more support and more access for those who struggle.
absolutely. I agree with you there. And I find that in so many conversations when I'm explaining some kind of thing that I'm struggling with and I say the word, people are
Mhm.
just confused. They like, what's that? So I think I'm with you there. That's why we're here. We want the world to know that this does exist. And because it can feel like you're kind of trying to explain your whole experience to someone, and that can be exhausting. So ideally, it would be just like any other condition that's quite well known. People will know kind of what that is when you say it. I hope we get to that point. I hope we do. So yeah, just kind of thinking about, I feel grateful that I was kind of born in the UK where there is slightly more awareness, because from what you're saying, there just is really hardly any over there. So I really feel for you. So yeah, if I had been born in the Philippines, how likely do you think someone would be to find out or be diagnosed?
It's very unlikely
Very
that
unlikely.
you would get diagnosed for dyspraxia,
Mm.
because as mentioned, there's not much knowledge about this condition, and there's more knowledge on other like neurodevelopmental conditions like autism, but
Yeah.
when it comes to dyspraxia, there really isn't a conversation about it, and so you would really struggle like getting diagnosed, and you will likely figure out like when you grow up, like just like how I did figure out I have dyspraxia, but
Yes.
yeah, it's it's highly unlikely you're gonna get diagnosed.
Yeah. Yeah. You might find some problems that you're struggling with and do a Google search just like you did, and then you might find out. But yeah, initially there just wouldn't be that awareness to help you get there. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for talking to us today. And I hope that this video is informative and helps some people out there who want to know more about dyspraxia. So take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.